All right, guys, welcome. Happy Sunday. We got another main slate to go over. Week 5 now. So, let's go over the news that we got. And the big news to talk about, obviously, is Dalvin Cook. He's inactive. So, obviously, that makes Alexander Mattison a really, really good play. He's going to be popular. But, last week, or it was week 3, when Cook missed and Mattison had 26 carries and 6 catches and 8 targets. This is a great matchup. Expect him to get, again, a majority of the touches here. So hard not to like Alexander Mattison there at that price point. Yeah, that was really the big news. So a lot of the other running backs that were questionable are in, like Zeke's in, Gibson is in, Mixon is active. We don't know what his workload is going to be necessarily, but Chase Edmonds in. So a lot of the question marks are a lot of guys that are questionable are in, but the big one obviously is no Dalvin Cook. So this again going to be a general Q&A live stream, guys. So make sure to leave some questions in the chat. I'll be sure to get to edit to all of them. And, one other piece of news, Giovanni Bernard also active for Tampa Bay. So that's a downgrade to Leonard Fournette. Right now there's going to be 3 running backs in play for Tampa Bay. Last week, Fournette was the bell cow because there's no Gio. Jones had a couple touches. But now there's 3 running backs, and Gio will be, the third down back. So does make Fournette a lot riskier. And there's other running backs in that range I think you could get to. Right, you have Damian Williams, Madison, that should get a majority of the touches there. All right. Appreciate the vids, DK. Hey, thanks, man. Cook out. Yep, exactly. Yeah, Madison's going to be a great play. Fournette or Williams. For me, it's going to be Williams. And the reason is if Giovanni Bernard was inactive, it would be Fournette. But I expect Damian Williams to get most of the carries there for Chicago. And Fournette's now got to compete with Gio and Ronald Jones. So, Madison or Swift. I think that the correct answer there is Madison. Now, you're getting him at way more ownership, but there's no real competition for touches for Minnesota, right? They have Abdullah and a fullback. So, Swift, obviously still Jamal Williams there. Edmonds or Connor, for me, it's Chase Edmonds, and it's not close. Connor's gotten there because of back-to-back weeks of 2 1-yard touchdown runs, which is just disgusting. So I've had Kyler Murray stacks both those weeks. I'm getting ready to tilt about James Conner again because you already know he's going to have 12 carries for 30 yards and 3 touchdowns and just steal all the Kyler Murray touchdowns. Another Sunday. Exactly. Another Sunday. Another me losing money on a Kyler DeAndre Hopkins stack. I think it's got to be Madison there. How about them Jets? Is it 29 still? Or did they score? Oh, wow, they did score. Okay, so they're making it close. I see Kyle Pitts finally having a big game when I don't play. Oh, obviously I didn't play the show on slate, but I think I've played Kyle Pitts almost every single week. So nice to see him absolutely smashing when I don't play him. Making that comeback, they are, yeah. Seals Jones and Damian Williams or Ingram and Higgins? That's a good question. Depends what you're playing. Cash games is the first one. I like the second one in GPPs. I think that the Cincinnati passing attack has a good amount of upside. I think that game is definitely stackable, that Green Bay-Cincinnati game. Who do you prefer Cincinnati wide receiver? It's tough. The 3 wide receivers are all pretty similar to me. I guess Tyler Boyd, but that's not a strong take. Do you trust Henry? Well, he's probably going to get close to 30 touches. He's going to be the chalk, but it's hard not to like him. Has been a little bit involved in the passing game. Derrick Henry, he seems to usually go off when no one plays him, and he's going to be super popular this week. So I think you can definitely fade him in GPPs. Right, ownership's going to be high. It's going to be 25%, maybe a little more. Right, 35, 20. It's just the amount of carries he's getting and the matchup with Jacksonville is great here. But I do think you can make the argument to fade him GPPs because, if he doesn't get in the end zone, you could see maybe only 13, 14 fantasy points from Henry. Yeah, Seals Jones or Dwelley is a good question. I think it's pretty close. Both are playing with unproven quarterbacks. Obviously, you have Dwelley with the rookie. You have Seals Jones with Taylor Heineke. I think it kind of depends on your roster construction, but that one's basically a toss-up for me. Pick 2, Madison, Williams, Fournette, and Edmonds. Yeah, that's a good question. I think it would be the first 2 for me. Rodgers, Madison, Barkley, Adams, Tim Patrick, Chenault, Gesicki, Fournette, Raiders. That's the only thing I'll say about Fournette. I'm not saying he's a bad play. I do think he's a little bit riskier now with Giovanni Bernard in. Right, he basically played the entire game last game, but now you have Gio, and you have Ronald Jones will get a little bit of work too. So you think Kamara and Henry will have big games? Stack one lineup with them. Obviously, Lance is the quarterback. Yeah, so Lance is going to be a popular punt quarterback play. Kamara, I don't think he's going to be super popular. I don't, people are, I think, are going to overreact to the 0-target game. I mean, he's not getting the same amount of targets as he was last year, but it's still Alvin Kamara, and he's still getting a ton of carries. So I don't hate Kamara as a contrarian spend up. He's going to be pretty low because if people are spending up a running back, they're going to go to Derrick Henry. So I think Kamara is at least a little bit interesting there for tournaments. I do think he's going to have more than 0 targets. Let's see. Yeah, Ferkser or Dwelly. Ferkser's probably a little bit safer because he's playing with a more proven quarterback. Marvin Jones Jr. or Renfro for season long. It's going to be MJJ for me. I like that Jags passing attack. They're just going to be playing fine almost every single game. There's no DJ Chark, so should be pretty condensed to MJJ and Chenault. So yeah, I like those 2 Jags receivers today. Are you playing Lance? I'm playing the opposite side of that game. I'm playing Kyler and GPPs, but I do think Lance is a really solid play. He's probably going to be chalk and cash games. Obviously, it's got the rushing upside. So yeah, Lance definitely in play. There is some risk, right? We saw what happened when a rookie chalk quarterback, a couple weeks ago in Fields didn't work out great. So there's no guarantee Lance is going to put up big numbers, but I do think the price point and the matchup definitely make him viable. I'm staying away from the 49ers running backs. I don't trust it. Henry at least 1 touchdown, 11 of 12 games in Jacksonville. Yeah, I don't read too much into that in those type of stats, though. He's just getting a ton of carries. Yeah, favorite Cincinnati wide receiver. It's not a super strong take. I guess Boyd, but I think I like all 3. Midsize GP quarterback. Do you prefer Daniel Jones or Burrow? It's a good question. I like both today. I think Jones probably be a little more popular, but I still probably lean Jones slightly. Rushing upside for him. DJ Moore, Justin Jefferson. I'll lean Jefferson there. Cheap tight end plays. There's a few. You have Ricky Seals-Jones, who is going to be relatively popular, I think, with no Logan Thomas. He played on 92% of snaps once Logan Thomas went down. Ross Dwelly is working with the ones. He'll be the top tight end here for San Francisco. You have someone mentioned Ferkser. I think it's 3.1K against Jacksonville. He had 5 targets last week. So there actually are a few punt tight ends. Tight end is not – I don't think there's a clear play at tight end. Most weeks I've been looking to spend up, but I'm actually okay punting tight end this week because there's no I don't love Waller at that price against Chicago. Hawkinson, I do think is a decent amount of upside. He's a little bit banged up though. So yeah, I think tight end is tricky this week. Pitts, God, I just knew that would happen. Of course, he's not on the main slate; just smashes. Yeah, 9 for 119 and a touchdown. I'm gonna throw up. Best pair for stacking: Josh Allen. Best pair for stacking: Diggs, Sermon or Williams for cheap running back. Williams. I don't trust the San Francisco running backs. That's in Hurts and Smith. I like Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. He is putting up consistent fantasy points every single week, 20+. The rushing upside is what I love, obviously. Matchup, Carolina's defense has been solid, but I'm not super worried about it. Pairing Hurts with or pairing someone with Hurts is the tricky part because Philadelphia spreads it out. They have 2 tight ends, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs. Devontae Smith is probably the guy that has the most upside, but you're never going to feel great targeting any of those Eagles wide receivers. Guys, if you're just coming in, make sure to hit that like button. We're at just about 100 viewers already. Only 13 likes, so try to get those up. Would appreciate that. Tight end versus Jokelin, Komet. Thoughts on P. Ryan? I'm not touching the Cincinnati backfield. Mixon is active. They said they're going to limit his work. Kind of just makes the backfield out of play for me. You consider winner take all. Do you consider winner take alls cash or tournaments? Tournaments. Do you think Curtis Samuel has more fantasy points than Seals Jones? My issue with Curtis Samuel is he didn't play a ton last week. I think it was like 30-something% of snaps. He played 22 offensive snaps. He's a little bit banged up with the groin. They are thin at wide receiver. I would say Seals-Jones are probably a little bit safer. I think he'll be out there more. I closed 100% Madison, which means he's going to get hurt or bust. If he gets hurt, I'll be very tilted because I think he's a pretty clear play. Well, there's no Ridley or Gage. Yeah, exactly. Like, kind of expected Pitts to have the big game, but of course, it's on a non-main slate week. Can we cheer on the Jets? We need a field goal, and then Zach's coming down for a game-winning drive. Did they get the ball back? I see the Falcons still have it. We need to hold on a field goal. Yeah, if the Jets don't hold a field goal, this could get exciting. I see Cordarrelle Patterson just once again. Cordarrelle Patterson just the best player to ever play. Okay. All right, what else do we got? We're over 100 viewers. Thank you guys. I'm going to should be doing a live stream too for Sunday Night Football, which I'm really excited about. Chiefs and Bills. That's going to be a great one. We have a Millie Maker too. Prescott with Madison, Henry, Hopkins, Lamb, Shenault. I like that. Miami is thin at wide receiver. Waddle should be the number one, right? You have Devontae Parker inactive. You have no Will Fuller, so you have Waddle. You can make the argument for Gesicki. He's not super cheap, but 12 and 6 targets last couple of weeks too. Miami should be playing from behind, so those Miami pass catchers I think do make some sense today. What do you think about Tony in the flex? I think Tony is a pretty safe option, right? You have no Shepard and no Slayton, and he played a majority of the game last game, and he's going to play a lot out of the slots, or majority of snaps out of the slot. And we know Daniel Jones likes going to slot receiver, right? When Shepard was healthy, Shepard was getting peppered with targets. And now it's Tony, and he had 9 targets last week. Now, are we going to get 9 targets again? Not necessarily, but this is a high total game. And playing out of the slot, Jones likes going to the slot receivers. He's only 4K. Should play majority of the game, like I said. So, yeah, I think Tony is a pretty safe play. Elliott or Barkley is a good question. Lean to Barkley because Elliott has to deal with Tony Pollard taking some work. Saquon played at almost 90% of snaps last game. Damian Harris should do good. I just hate playing anyone. I hate targeting New England running backs. Or not Najee Harris, sorry, Damian Harris. Yeah, it's a good matchup, and they should be playing from ahead here against Houston, so I'm fine with that. He's going to get no real receiving down work, but he'll probably get a decent amount of the carries. Elliott, yeah, for me it's Barkley, and it's just because, again, Zeke is going to get some touches taken away by Tony Pollard. I mean, Pollard's a solid backup, and he's probably going to get somewhere around 10 touches, where Saquon, it's basically just him, right? He played at almost 90% of the snaps last week, so I'm going to lean Saquon because there's no real competition for touches. Would you play Davante Adams? I think Davante Adams is one of the safer spend-up wide receivers. Going to get double-digit targets basically every single week. This is a game that could definitely shoot out Green Bay and Cincinnati, so I like Davante a good amount. Yeah. Tony or Ross? For me, it's Tony. Yeah. GP, thoughts on McNichols? Thoughts on McNichols and Aaron Jones at running back? I think Aaron Jones is a decent pivot off of Devontae. I think Devontae is going to be one of the more popular wide receivers. So one way to obviously pivot off that is go to Aaron Jones. Now, Aaron Jones is going to look as good at this price. They're basically the same price. I'm going to prefer Devontae every single week. But then you got to factor in ownership. So I think you can make that argument, but a contrarian play for Jones. And then he said McNichols. No thank you on McNichols at running back. I don't think we have to go there. Can you play Jones and Barkley together? Aaron Jones? Or Daniel Jones? Daniel Jones, yeah, sorry. I think you can. Yeah, I think you can. Barkley is going to be used as a pass catcher a decent amount, so I'm fine with that. Giovanni Brown playing, he's active, yep. Do you have 100% of any player in your lineup? Well, I usually only build one lineup. The last couple weeks, I've been building 2, just tournament lineups. So I don't play mass multi-entry. Is Robbie Anderson going to finally break out this week and teach more of the best wide receiver ever? Yeah, What's Robbie Anderson's price? He's relatively cheap, right? $5K. This is kind of the same thing I said about Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, right? Last year, Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore were basically the same price every single week. Do I think DJ Moore is that much better than Robbie Anderson? No. I do think DJ Moore is the better wide receiver. But should he be almost $3,000 more than Robbie Anderson? I don't think so. It's the same thing I said about Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. And that was a bigger price difference. I think Cooper Kupp was like $12K and Robert Woods was like $7K. I was like, hey, they were the same price last year. Robert Woods at times is more pricey than Cooper Kupp. Like, I don't think Cooper Kupp is going to continue to put up this amount of fantasy points every single week. Same thing I'll say about this Carolina wide receivers. I think DJ Moore is more talented, but should he be like almost $3,000 more than Robbie Anderson? No. Cobb or Tony? It's going to be Tony for me. I do think Cobb is still viable. However, now he's going to be way more popular, right? I liked him last week at a super low owned play. No one talked about him. He was like 0.5% owned. He did have 2 touchdowns. He's not going to do that again. He played in about half the game with no MVS, so expect about that. If this game turns into a shootout, maybe he plays a little bit more. So for me, I think I would lean Tony over Cobb. I think he plays a little bit more. But I do think Cobb is still viable. However, again, the ownership is going to go up after those 2 touchdowns. For me, it's Tony there. Did the Jets get a stop or the Falcons punch it in? Oh, they scored. Okay. Let's see. I have Jets D in my season longs. How many points do they have? 3. All right, I guess I'll take that. It's not awful. Let's see. Yeah, so I get the Chester Rogers play. Here, let's go to Tennessee. My issue is, like, they have Westbrook, they have Reynolds too. How are these snaps going to work behind A.J. Brown? Obviously, A.J. Brown's going to play the entire game or majority of the game. What are the snaps going to look like with these 3 guys? You know, when Julio Jones and A.J. Brown are both out, I felt pretty good about targeting any of these 3. Now it's like, how are these snaps going to work with Rodgers, Westbrook, and Reynolds behind A.J. Brown? I don't know. So there's risk with all 3. That's kind of the issue I see. Madison in play. Yeah, I think he looks great. No Dalvin Cook. Going to get a majority of the touches. Great matchup. Can you play? Yeah, you can play Madison and Kirk Cousins because he's going to be very involved in the passing game. They like running a lot of screens. He had 6 catches and 8 targets. Like, Minnesota likes passing the running back, so I think that's fine. Like, I'm not going to go out of my way to stack with a running back, but I do think you can pair Kirk Cousins with Madison. Bengals stack for the Millie. I like that game as part of a stack. I think it's going to be a shootout, pretty high scoring, or pretty high total. Can you play A.J. Brown and Henry together? If I'm doing that, I'm probably just full stacking the game. So if you're doing A.J. Brown and Henry together, I'm probably playing Tannehill. I'm probably bringing it back to someone in Jacksonville and hoping just for a massive shootout. Thoughts on the Steelers wide receivers? Yeah, we can go to Pittsburgh. I mean, Big Ben is yikes. This game is going to be ugly. Sub 40 total. I think they're all secondary plays for me. There's other wide receivers in this mid-range I think I prefer. Now, Pittsburgh's probably going to air it out, but they're all kind of just fine options. Again, more secondary plays. No leverage with Henry, Madison, or Fournette and GPs. All are 25% owned. I'm going to say my one worry is Fournette. I'm a little bit worried with him. Giovanni Bernard, Ronald Jones, both playing. So Fournette is not going to get all the touches this week. So he's one I think you could get off. Justin Jefferson or DJ Moore? It's a good question. I mean, so now for GPPs, I think Jefferson makes for a solid play because Madison's going to be the chalk, right? So I don't think a lot of people are going to want to play Madison and a wide receiver together. So those Minnesota wide receivers now make for pretty good GPP plays, right? So I think Jefferson looks pretty solid. Hopkins, just a GPP play. He's not been great. He's let me down last couple weeks. The upside is still there. You're going to get him a low ownership. But, I've said that the last 2 weeks and it hasn't worked out. So right now it's just a GPP play. But I do think he'll be pretty low owned. And we know the type of upside Hopkins brings. So I'm fine going there in tournaments. Lance and Ingram, or Kirk and Seals-Jones for cash. Kirk Cousins, I'm guessing that is. I think the first one. Hurts or Burrow, playing one line, Hurts. Favorite Dallas wide receiver or tight end. So just basically favorite Dallas wide receiver. I would say CeeDee Lamb. Because Amari Cooper has a lot of upside, but he's just always banged up, and he's banged up again. So, yeah, question is tight end Demetrius Harris a sleeper? He's most like to start. You said, who is it? Demetrius Harris? Wait, did Max Williams get ruled out? There's too many Williamses. Hold on. Let me go to Arizona. Yeah, if Max Williams gets ruled out, is Harris the backup tight end? Looks like he's the third string tight end. I probably wouldn't do it. And we don't know Max Williams is out, right? Favorite 7K and above wide receiver for GPP. Let's see. So 7K and up. I mean, I'm going to say Hopkins. He's lost me money a lot, but he's going to be very low owned. Like, Adams is definitely the chalk play up here. But yeah, in tournaments, I'll say Hopkins and hope he finally comes through for me. Probably won't, though. Favorite defense under 3K. Yeah, defense is just I hate how Draftkings still has defense. I think the Raiders look pretty solid there at 2.9. Or you just go down to the bottom and punt with one of these defenses, like Washington, viable punt defense. You can punt with the Texans even if you want. Defense usually a position I just punt and hope they don't kill me. Kenny Golladay and Damian Williams thoughts? So Golladay will be in a tougher individual matchup. Is that going to get me off him? Not necessarily. Sorry about that. So yeah, he's going to be the clear number one wide receiver. Again, individual matchup won't be great, but still firmly in play at a high total. And then Damian Williams, I think, is very safe. Should be the guy that gets a majority of the touches there at running back for Chicago. And they're going to rely on the running back a little bit more with, obviously, Fields playing quarterback. Devontae Smith or CD, I think you got a lean CD there. James Robinson, so it's going to be interesting to see. He played basically the entire game last game, but that was without Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde's now back, so how much does James Robinson lose? Does it go back to kind of like a 60-40 split, something like that? So Robinson, I'm fine with. This is a Contrarian running back play. I don't think he gets a ton of ownership. If Williams out, who gets his target share? There's too many Williamses. Which Williams? There's like 80 Williams. Yeah, there's too many Williamses for me to know which one you're talking about. Justin Jefferson, I think the Minnesota wide receivers, I think make some sense now in GPPs because like Madison's going to get a lot of ownership. So like not a lot of people are going to want to play Madison with a wide receiver. So what that's going to do is just going to make both Jefferson and Thielen pretty low owned. So I do think they make for good GPP plays. Shenault or Higgins is a good question. I think it's pretty close. Maybe the smallest of lean to Shenault. What are your thoughts on Tony? Going to play out of the slot? No Shepard, no Slayton. Should play majority of the game. Good matchup. I think he's a pretty safe value. Thoughts on Derrick Henry? Going to be very, very popular. Probably gets around 30 touches in the ground. Great matchup. I think you can fade him in GPPs. Jefferson or Thielen? Taking price into consideration there. Small lean to Thielen, even though I think Jefferson's got a little more upside. You're just getting Thielen at more of a discount there at 6.6. So point per dollar, probably the smallest lean to Thielen. Thielen or Nick Chubb at flex. Thielen from T. Higgins or A.J. Brown. I think you got to go A.J. Brown there. The only Williams that matters is Damian Williams, 25 touches. Yeah, he's going to get a lot of touches. I think Damian Williams is very safe. Shenault or Higgins, small lean to Shenault. What do you think about playing Jones Jr. and Shenault in the same lineup? Run it back to Henry. I like it. I like that a lot for GPPs, right? So if you go Derrick Henry, it makes sense, right? Because what you're hoping for in this script is that Tennessee gets off to an early lead and they're just going to ground and pound Derrick Henry. And then Jacksonville's going to be playing catch-up. And, yeah, it makes a lot of sense for GPP. So I like it. And Jacksonville target share should be more condensed now with no DJ Chark. So like I'll go over that on Patreon. Like what are my favorite plays for optimal build for GPPs. So if that's something you want access to, we'll talk about it more on Patreon, which I'll be going live there in about a few minutes. Would you play Madison and Jefferson the same line for GPP? Probably not. I mean, again, like someone asked about Henry and AJ Brown. Like you can do it, but you're gonna like if I'm doing that, I'm just going for a full stack of that game and just hoping it's like a massive shootout. So it's definitely not optimal to play both a running back and wide receiver in the same lineup. Thoughts on Seals Jones? Viable punt tight end play. He'll be relatively popular. He's going to play majority of the game. McLaurin or Chase? Taking price consideration is Chase. Straight up, it's definitely McLaurin. Waddle, big increase with no Fuller. Yeah, Waddle's going to be the number one wide receiver for Miami. Probably going to be playing from behind too, so I think Waddle's a solid value. Thoughts on Aaron Jones? Devontae's going to be popular. Like him as a pivot. Definitely not optimal. Like if we're not considering ownership, give me Devontae Adams over Aaron Jones all day long. But there's a way where Aaron Jones outscores Devontae Adams. What happened a couple weeks ago, we had like 20 touchdowns, right? So Jones just a contrarian play. But the reason you get to him, obviously, is you try to leverage that Devontae Adams ownership. Thoughts on Hubbard? Philly note, not good against the run. I think Hubbard's fine. He's still, he didn't play. He got a good amount of the touches, but he didn't play, a majority of the game. He's at a range where, there's other running backs that look better in this price range. So right now, it's just a contrarian play for me. All right, guys, a couple more minutes. Any last-minute questions, throw them in here. If not, good luck to you guys all on this. Week 5 main slate. Kind of an uglier main slate, right? We have a lot of the high total games kind of in the showdown slates. Again, Sunday Night Football, make sure to check out. I already have a video up if you guys are curious. Kansas City and Buffalo, if you want to check that out a little bit later. Also, I'll be doing a live stream. But yeah, that one's going to be great. Thoughts on Eckler? Yeah, so Eckler, not a lot of people are talking about. I actually think he's viable. It's a tough matchup, but he played a majority of the running back snaps last week. He is very involved in the passing game, and people are going to avoid him because of his matchup. It's not. I don't know if I go to him in cash games, but for GPPs, I do think it's viable. Saquon Barkley, I think, is pretty safe. Played about 90% of snaps. Good matchup. I'm fine with Saquon. Renfro's still overlooked. What's his price point at again? He's almost $5K. Feels a little pricey for Renfro, so I'm probably not going to go to the main slate. I would rather go to Allen over Williams. Yeah. Cooks or Sutton? I don't love either. Probably Sutton, though. I just don't know if I can trust anyone from Houston. Samuel or McLaurin? McLaurin, if we're not considering salary, obviously. Yeah, Barkley or Eckler is a pretty good question. Small lean to Saquon there, but that's just because the matchup. Thoughts on Hopkins? Good tournament play, will be low owned. He's lost me a lot of money last couple of weeks. But we know the upside is there. And again, all the ownership up top is going to Devontae Adams. So Hopkins, fine, contrarian play. Najee, he's going to play the entire game. So I think he's safe. This is just an ugly game against Denver, but perfectly fine going to Najee Harris. All right, guys, I am going to get out of here. So good luck today. Hopefully you guys have some big winners. And I'll see you later for Sunday Night Football.